The GPU cryptocurrency mining bubble has been rapidly deflating over the past months, and much to the applause of PC gamers everywhere, GPU prices are starting to normalize. Or at least some of them are. Even though AMD's RX Vega 56 and 64 cards are massively overpriced right now, they're still being snapped up by miners left and right, and it's almost impossible to find them in stock anywhere unless you constantly keep your ear to the ground at prices that are reasonable. But are these cards really worth all of the fuss? Are they the new kings of GPU mining? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out. When rumors of Vega's mining prowess originally started making the rounds, it had miners more than a little excited, and for good reason. As rumor had it, Vega would be able to hit around 70 to 100 megahashes per second mining Ethereum, which means it was earning between $3.29 and $4.70 per day according to current profitability. If that sounds like a lot, that's because it is. The most profitable GPU on NiceHash's profitability calculator right now is the 1080 Ti when you mine Vertcoin, but that only makes you $2.33 a day. Unfortunately, when miners actually got their hands on Vega, it became clear that those rumored speeds were massively exaggerated. But even if Vega managed half the hash rate in the rumors, they'd still be very capable mining cards. So I picked up both the Vega 64, I picked up both 56 and 64 at a huge price premium, by the way, to see just how well they're able to earn their keep. So as soon as I got the cards, I slapped them into two of my test benches in order to save some time by benchmarking them simultaneously. After the prerequisite driver installations, I fired up NiceHash Miner, which I chose purely because it's simple to set up and run. And another reason I prefer it to other miners is that it switches mining algorithms on the fly, ensuring that you're always mining whatever cryptocurrency is most profitable for your GPU at the time, and it also pays you out in Bitcoin for your efforts. Without touching any settings or researching how to correctly optimize either of my Vega cards for mining, I let NiceHash's benchmarking utility put them through their paces. Now, I knew going into this thing that I wouldn't see hash rates anywhere near those speculated before Vega's release, but I can't say I wasn't disappointed at just how low they actually were. As you'll be able to tell from the benchmarks, low is a relative term. If RX Vega cards weren't AMD's latest and greatest cards and didn't cost a metric buttload more than they should, Ethereum hash rates of around 29 to 30 megahashes would be fairly remarkable. Even Zcash rates of around 429 to 475 sols per second would be hecka impressive. I mean, if you're not paying any electricity costs, the Vega 56 and 64 could be banking you around $1.84 to upwards of $2.03 a day. That's a fair amount more than you'd be getting by mining with the stock GTX 1070 and just less than you'd be making with a stock 1080. That's no small feat. But unfortunately, Vega is astronomically overpriced right now, and if you're running these cards at stock settings with AMD's regular gaming drivers, you're not going to see worthwhile profits in return anytime soon. Which is why you shouldn't mine them with stock settings using regular drivers, silly. There are various reasons why RX Vega cards don't mine as well as many expected, and as you're about to see, at least one of them is driver related. A little over a month ago, AMD released a blockchain compute beta driver, which is aimed solely at improving mining performance across many of their cards, including Vega. The company made it clear on the driver support page that this driver should be considered as is, meaning it won't receive any further updates and that it's not supposed to be used for gaming. But hey, as long as it ups my sweet hash rates, that's all that matters, right? Right. But how much of an improvement are we really looking at here? 1 or 2 additional megahashes per second? Nah fam, try around 6. That's right, by simply switching over to the blockchain driver, Ethereum hash rates on both my Vega 56 and 64 were boosted by around 5 to 6 extra megahashes, bringing the total per card to around 35 or 36. Other algorithms also saw a respectable increase as well, but we'll get to that in a bit. 36 megahashes is a really impressive result that makes the card seem that much more appealing, but if you're really serious about getting the most out of mining with Vega, you shouldn't stop there. Over on Reddit, a user by the name of Silent Death started a thread about a month ago where he claimed to have gotten a 43.5 mega hash rate on his Vega 64 at just 130 watts. He also included a handy guide on how he did it, so obviously I had to see what that was all about. The first thing I did was head on over to AMD's included Radeon Wattman utility, which is the only overclocking tool that I could get to work with Vega. In there, I dropped my Vega 64's core clock to 1000 megahertz because Ethereum mining relies more on memory speed than core speed. After that, I boosted its memory clock to exactly 1100 megahertz. I tried going higher than that, but even an extra 5 megahertz increase caused occasional crashes and artifacting. The last thing Silent Death recommended was to tweak the GPU's power target to minus 24%, which is exactly what I did. The last thing I did was set a more aggressive idle and max fan speed. You wouldn't want to melt the card just yet. After all of that, it was just a matter of running a few benchmarks to check how much of that scrumptious crypto coin I'd soon be rolling in. Or so I thought. Unfortunately, I couldn't get stable results while mining many of the currencies I had previously tested, and the system crashed and froze up on me several times. After a few hours of toggling switches, turning knobs, and trying not to cry at my humiliating failure of being a master miner, I figured out that the low power target was to blame. Instead of playing it safe and power efficient, I cranked it up to plus 20%, and much to my delight, I got rock solid results. Unless you've been distracted for the last few minutes, you'll notice that I wasn't in fact able to get my Vega 64 to the mythical 43 megahash per second. But I got it pretty darn close. Not only did my Ethereum hash rate jump from 36 to almost 41, benchmarks for other algorithms, even while dual mining, also saw a remarkable improvement across the board. These results mean Vega 64 routinely brings in more cash per day than the GTX 1080. Since all of this tweaking works so well with Vega 64, I decided to apply the same method while optimizing its little brother, Vega 56. Unfortunately, the 56 absolutely hated any memory overclock higher than 990 megahertz, so I had to resort with just sticking to that, otherwise the settings were identical. Just like with Vega 64, Vega 56 loved the extra memory speed and posted very similar results to its big brother, barring a few exceptions. Interestingly, both cards produced Ethereum hash rates around the 40 megahash mark. Obviously, none of this is a perfect representation of the sort of profits you can expect to earn if you plan on picking up an RX Vega chip for mining, since all of my calculations were done without taking electricity costs into account, which is actually a major deal since these cards are friggin' gluttonous when it comes to power draw. Stock Vega 56 and 64 sport TDPs of 210 watts and 295 watts respectively, which is already monstrous. They get even more so thanks to that 20% power limit increase I applied to them in order to get stable overclocks, bringing total system draw for the Vega 56 to 320 watts, while the Vega 64 bench drew 370 watts on average. Even worse, all of that power made for some toasty cards. While you expect an overclock to drive temps through the roof, it's even worse in the case of Vega. The reference design cards equipped with the blower style fan each had quite a bit of trouble keeping thermals in check. At stock fan speeds, both cards experienced heavy thermal throttling, significantly reducing mining performance. The only way to prevent them from going full nuclear was to crank the little fans to their max RPM of 4,900. Which helped the Vega 56 stay at a pretty decent 72 degrees, while the Vega 64 had to be content with 83 degrees. I was able to reduce temps a lot more by introducing an additional fan into the mix, encouraging a little more airflow. Oh, and remember when I said the fans needed to be run at 4,900 RPM? The amount of noise this created was staggering. It was like sitting between two high-powered hair dryers running at full tilt. I guess that's why they're called blower-style cooler designs, right? In all fairness, power draw and temperatures could be mitigated to reasonably sane levels by fully following Silent Death's notes, including messing around with voltages and exploiting a bug in Wattman. I tried going down that route, but it ended up taking more time and effort than I'd have liked, and even then, I wasn't able to get my overclock stable. But just because I wasn't able to get it to work doesn't mean you shouldn't give it a go. May the Silicon Lottery be with you. All in all, Vega has some more than decent mining potential, sporting about 50% more hashing power than an RX 580. Unfortunately, it always comes down to pricing, and Vega's is still kind of atrocious. Then again, even if either Vega card could be found at their MSRP, you'd probably still be better off with two RX 480 or 580s. Getting one RX 580 for about $250, then saving up to buy a second one will give you something along the lines of an extra 12 megahashes or so over a single Vega card. One thing to keep in mind though is that Vega is still a very new GPU architecture that's getting better and better with each driver update. Just look at what a difference the blockchain beta driver did for the hash rates. There's no reason to believe that these cards won't be able to hit higher hash rates in the near future, but until then, they're not a great investment and I'd have a hard time recommending them for anyone just looking for a beastly mining card. Obviously, these cards weren't built with mining in mind, but considering AMD has reigned supreme in the mining department thanks to their focus on compute performance over gaming performance, we thought it was worth a look since we recently picked up these Vega cards. Which, speaking of, we want to do some more in-depth coverage on Vega over the next couple of weeks, so we're keen to hear your suggestions of what you want us to do with these cards. Obviously, the Windows Fall Creator Update is on the list, but we're keen to get other suggestions as well. So be sure to let us know what you're thinking down in the comments or over on Twitter. I'm at UFDisciple. I do seriously despise the accusations that I'm an NVIDIA fanboy / shill, so hopefully putting out some more AMD coverage out will help mitigate all you trolls. Obviously, I know that it won't happen, and I'm just probably inviting more, but whatever, that's not the point. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more coverage on Vega. Subscribe to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content. I am Brett with the UF Disciple channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers. Let's see if I can make that happen. Okay, probably gonna break something.
What are you gonna do?
Let's see. Nope, I don't have the limberness for that. Yeah. Crap, my crotch. I'm not prepared for this.